हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरं ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे हरे कृष्ण. So we'll continue our discussion on 29th chapter. This is a summary of, along with the summary, Nardan is going to give some important lessons, and Prabhupada want to share very valuable points. We'll try to see what Prabhupada want to share with all of us. So here I just share the screen for you. We'll just go through the translations. So Nardamuni was again telling the same whatever was discussed previously about what are the 9 gates and what is this Puranjana, where he goes for enjoying what. And if you analyze properly, we'll see that our enjoyment is because of these 9 holes only. Some or other, any enjoyment we are getting through these 9 holes. So uh, this is a good analysis of our personality, how we are. So here he says, when I refer to the chariot, this body, so we have seen that figure also, which we have discussed previously. So the chariot of Puranjana, how it is affecting all of us. So just show you the chariot. Yeah. So this is the chariot which we have discussed. So again, it is 3 modes are the flags, and the super soul is sitting in the is the sanctioner, and I and my are the emanations, and living entity is driven by desires. So based on the desires of living entity, the super soul is guiding these horses. And both religion and irreligion, this is like, we may think religious life is good, but both are making a person stuck in this world only. So it's like other side of a coin. Even religion is also considered not very great. Why? Because it is keeping us in this material world. And the 5 horses are the ears, skin, tongue, nose. These are jnanendriyas. So this is how the description of the chariot is, which Narad Muni was explaining, and then again he summarizes it in this. Sorry. Just a minute. So this is the understanding of the chariot, which Narad Muni explained. Yeah. We'll just 22nd verse we are discussing. Just go to the verse. So here, this is what is our personality. Then he tells about how we enjoy in this body, and so he says that, yeah, text 21 says, what was previously explained as Chandavega, powerful time, is covered by days and nights named Gandharvas and Gandharvis. The body's lifespan is gradually reduced by the passage of day and night, which numbered 360. Then he says this. So this is all a revision for what is discussed. What was described as Kalakanya should be understood as old age. No one want to accept old age, but Yavaneshwara, Yavanaraja, who is death, accepts Jara as his sister. So engaged within the body, the living entity accepts Kalakanya, old age just before death. Yavaneshwara is the emblem of death. Yamaraj, before going to the place of Yamaraj, the living entity accepts old age. So this is known fact. But only thing is we don't want to, we cannot, we don't know what to do with it. So now we'll see what all things Prabhupada has to add few more points in this. The followers of Bipin Raja are called the soldiers of death, and they are known as various types of disturbances that pertain to the body and mind. Prajvara refers to two types of fevers: extreme heat and extreme cold, typhoid and pneumonia. The living entity lying down within the body is disturbed by many tribulations pertaining to providence, to other living entities, and to his own body. Despite all kinds of tribulations, the living entity is subjected to the necessities of body, mind, and senses, and suffering from various types of disease, is carried away by many plans due to his lust to enjoy the world. Although transcendental to this material existence, the living entity, out of ignorance, accepts all these material miseries under the pretext of false egoism, I and mine. In this way, he lives for 100 years within this body. So, this is what is happening. And Prabhupada is adding to it that the Veda says, Asangohi ayam purusha. The living entity actually separates from the material existence, for the soul is not material. And he says when the internal or superior energy comes in contact with external energy, it is subjected to tribulations. That's why what we should do? Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkhada. So this is a very important tool for us to come out of this conditioning. What is the tool? To be unaffected by the situations. At least we should know it is not happening to me. Theoretically, slowly we can come out of it. Like we want to take cold water bath, especially winter season, early morning cold water bath. When I know that I am separate, actually the cold is for the body, but more than body, what is weak is our mind. If mind is strong, they can take cold water bath. Of course, some body is really weak, they will become sick. But not everybody will become sick. It is healthy only. Only thing is our mind don't accept it. Just 2 minutes, just take bath. If you have hot water, you may spend 15-20 minutes. If it is cold water, you can finish your bathing in 2 minutes. It is good also. Actually, it is good for what? Mind. Mind becomes very strong. So that's why this matra sparsha, sita ushna sukha dukkada, that is why it is given. Because we are dealing, we are handling whom? We are had to handle our mind only. What is pain, pleasure, where they are? They are in the mind only, right? Heat, cold, they are also connected to mind only. Because for mind, always there is preferences. It's always an emotional state. It's a water form. So the intensities that throughout the brain, sorry, the intestines, the throat, the brain, and other parts of the body affected by all kinds of disease that are so powerful that they become source of extreme suffering for the living entity. The living entity, however, is different from all these material elements. So when the suffering comes to the body, this is very important. If mind is aloof, suffering is uh, to the body, and mind is affected, and soul is affected. So now for the soul, what is the connection? Mind is a connection, right? So where we have to cut the connection, we have to cut the connection here only. That's why this shloka is there. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. To be unaffected. So that's what we have to practice. That is called sadhana for us. Sadhana is to make us get connect, because this is inevitable. Suffering for the body. If you see, Prabhupada was also had to. He was also lying on the bed in the last moment of his life, and it happened to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, many great personalities. But what is happening? The soul is not affected. That is the success. Bhishmadev was lying on a bed of arrows. So body is extremely excruciating pain is there. But he's speaking such high philosophy, and great sages are coming and hearing. And that means, and whole Vishnu Sahasranam is speaking, and is going on speaking. He's not eating, he's not drinking, he's not even some water he drank, but he did not, he was just lying with that pain. Why? Because this is the important thing. So who is success in life is how much a mind is focused, that much we are successful. How much we are successful means how much we are able to make ourselves aloof from our body and mind. That much we are successful. It is external success is there. That is for passion people. Passionate people success is how many cars you have, how many houses you have, how much property you made. That you can consider success. But real success is what is the state of your mind. You may be a big celebrity, you may be something big, but what is the state of your mind? How much you befriended your mind, that much only you are successful. This all success is not considered only according to Shastra. So, and then Prabhupada says two types of fever described in this verse can be explained in the contemporary language as pneumonia and typhoid. When there is an extreme fever in body, there is typhoid and pneumonia, and they are described as prajvara. There are also other miseries created by other living entities. The state extracts taxes, and there are many thieves, rogues, and cheaters. And miseries brought about by other living entities are called adibhotika. So there are now new varieties of cheating, new varieties of taxations. Everything comes. So there is online cheating also here. You get so much intelligent people, so-called intelligent people also get cheated. So there are also miseries in the form of famine, pestilence, scarcity, war, earthquakes, and so on. These are caused by demigods or other sources beyond our control. Actually, there are many enemies of living entities, and these are all described to point out how miserable this material existence is. So, knowing the basic miseries of material existence, one should be induced to get out of material clutches and return back home, back to Godhead. Actually, see, very important. Actually, the living entity is not at all happy in this material world. Now, either we should accept Prabhupada's word, or we should get bewildered seeing other people so called happy. Prabhupada is telling, so we should have faith in the words of Acharyas. Because the body, he suffers thirst and hunger and is influenced by mind, by words, by anger, by belly, by genitals, by rectum, and so on. Manifold miseries encircle the transcendental living entity simply because it desires to satisfy its senses in the material world. If he simply withdraws from activities of sense gratification, applies his senses in service of Lord, all the problems of material existence will be immediately diminished. Why we have to hear again and again, array so many times in this chapter, and canto after canto, same thing is explained, because it should enter into our system. That's why then our desire to enjoy will go. So when this desire to enjoy go na, then no more suffering. So Prahlad Maharaj says, if you want to be happy, stop trying to be happy. So this is the main hook for us. So again and again hearing the now this is only information for us. This should become realization. This should become realization. So then, and after realization, again we hear, we feel more convinced. We become more happy. Oh, this is nice point. Now we are thinking oh same point again and again. It's boring. No, we have not realized. If we realize, we feel happy hearing it again and again. That's why Parikshit Maharaj knows all these things. Why he has to hear the same teachings? He has just left his house and he's sitting in the bank, and Sukadeva Goswami is teaching the same thing to him. He don't need, right? No, he needs. He's relishing because he understood it. So for us also same thing. If we realize, then we become more happy. The living entity by nature has minute independence to choose his own good or bad fortune. But if forgets his supreme master, personality of Godhead, he gives himself up to the three modes of material nature. That's all very simple. Either Lord or three modes. We have two choice. We have to accept Lord or three modes. So we are choosing here, mostly we are choosing passion and ignorance. But if we want to go closer to Lord, choose Lord, we have to choose goodness. So it is little better. That's all. So we have only two choices, either Lord or three modes. And most of the time we are stuck up in three modes, passion and ignorance. So being influenced by this, the modes of material nature, he identifies himself with body and for the interest of body become attached to various activities. Sometimes he is under the influence of mode of ignorance, sometimes mode of passion, sometimes goodness. The living entity thus gets different types of body under different modes. प्रकृतिस्थोपि पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणा कारणं गुणसङ्गस्य सदसद् योनिजन्मसु. So this is how we are caught up. We are getting because we are caught up in this different material modes. That's all. They are the very powerful creation of Lord. Three modes, very nicely bewildered. It is clearly explained here in that the living entity has little independence, indicate by the word swadrik, one who can see his own welfare. See, we are having this independence. A servant may desire to start his own business and imitate his master, and when he chose to do so, he may leave the protection of his master. Sometimes he is a failure, sometimes he is successful. Similarly, we are also want to be separate. There are many competitors out to attain the Lord's position, but to become like Lord is not at all possible. Thus, there is a great struggle. So, material bondage is cause of deviation from the service of Lord. So it is not possible to come out of this situation for anyone. Most intelligent person also. Three modes are so bewildering, and whatever we are seeing, no, the things around us, there are three modes only, and every time they are affecting us. Those who are situated in goodness act piously according to Vedic injunction. Thus, they are elevated to the higher planetary system. You see, so at least this level is little better. Those in the passion and ignorance engage in various type of productive activities in planetary systems where human beings live. So now everybody is interested in increasing the production, how much manufacturing is happening in the country. So the criteria itself is shows that this is the standard of living of people. Stand and influenced by ignorance are subjected to various types of miseries and live in the animal kingdom. So the criteria for people is oh, country should grow, economy should grow, and Arey, what about the state of consciousness of people who are living in the country? Nobody is bothered. We want to grow our economy and we want to have nice facilities to enjoy and we want to make more and more luxurious and comfortable things. And what about the state of mind? No university is teaching. Nobody is bothered. Even the politicians are least bothered about the consciousness of people. They are just interested for them to stay in power. And for them to stay in power, they have to provide some facilities to the people below them. And then they just provide the facilities, and people are happy with the facilities. They elect them again and again. Previously, one king used to be there. Whole life he is the king. There is no question of replacing the king. Once king, and his brothers and his relatives, everybody will serve the king. And the subjects also serve the king. So there is no question of dethroning the king. Hardly we see like Vena is dethroned. Otherwise, nobody is just, everybody follows. We have very rare cases of and that also the citizens are not rebelling to dethrone the king. Why I'm telling is that people are not interested in the post position. They are interested in changing their own consciousness. They are not interested in how comforts and luxuries the king is giving. King himself, he may do welfare activities, but he's more interested in the growth of the citizens' consciousness. That was the criteria. Now people are growing, growing, growing. But what is growing? They are degrading, degrading, degrading. And now the violence and the type of you have to increase the more security, more vigilance so that people don't commit violence. But why? Because consciousness is not good for the people. That is a problem. And uh, the kings, they were uh, and it was so easy for people. Now people cannot tolerate somebody being long as a king. They have to every 5 years they remove him and elect somebody else in so many places. They cannot accept him for more than 5 years. And in some countries, 4 years only. After that, you remove. And even if you want to do, you cannot do more than 8 years. Finish. Like why? That is because the people's state of mind is I want only comforts, and whoever gives, he should be the king. Previously, there was revolutions to dethrone the king. Now, no need of revolutions. Why revolutions are not there? Anyway, he will get down after 3 years or 5 years. Or some places, even that also they cannot tolerate. They remove him within 5 years also. So this is the state because the criteria for people to think what is advancement is very wrong now. And proposites the three planetary system, upper, lower, middle, are influenced by mode of goodness are given places in upper planet systems. Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka. And these people, na, they get elevated. So that is the advantage. And Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Mahatal, Patal, it is for lower modes. Now you see, qualitatively, the living entity is same as Supranaut. Because of his forgetfulness, he gets different bodies. So, and Prabhupada writes, such activities are described as Ugra Karma, that is, distressful activities. These, those who utilize the energy of worker are called capitalist, and those who actually perform the labor are called workers. Both the capitalists and the workers are mode of passion and ignorance. This is the present scenario. So for us, we should not take that as success, and people put in the status also. See, India is growing. The result of is that there is always distressful situation. So no matter how much a country makes advancement, it is always a distressful situation. In contrast, you see, those these men are those influence. In contrast to these men are those influenced by mode of goodness, karmis and gyanis, under the direction of Vedic instruction, try to elevate themselves to higher plant systems. Gyanis try to merge in the existence of Brahman, and in this way, all class of living entity in various species are existing within the material world. explained the uh, so this is how living entities are stuck here. So how people are stuck here, you see how complicatedly they are stuck. And now for them, how much they will understand Bhagavatam. That's when Prabhupada went to America. This is what he saw. They are so much in passion ignorance. And Prabhupada was praying to Krishna, how can I make them into devotees? How will they understand the message of Bhagavatam? So Rajastamo Bhave Eve, he is praying actually. They are just stuck there. Covered by mode of ignorance in material nature, the living entity is sometimes a male, sometimes a female, sometimes a eunuch, sometimes a human being, and a demigod, bird, animal. In this way, he is wandering within the material world. He accepts a different types of body is brought about by his activities under the influence of mode of material nature. So, first section was telling about how the body is formed, and second section is what activities he will do. And activities are done in three modes, right? So that is what Nardamun is telling. So first is the city of nine gates is the body. Once you get the body, what activities you do, and based on what we do activities, our activities are based on gunas only. That's all. We are all influenced by gunas, and gunas are main. Prakriti kriyamanani, gunai karamani sarvasha. So gunas are making us perform the activities. So here also, uh, how we are stuck up by the Maya. So under the influence of Maya, living entity becomes exactly like a person haunted by a ghost. Such a person speaks all kinds of nonsense. Most all the people are like that. When the living entity is covered by the influence of Maya, he becomes so-called scientist, philosopher, politician, and or socialist. See, this is not appreciated. Bhagavatam is not glorifying them. He's telling, Array, you are foolish fellow. You are like a person haunted by ghost. Who are all haunted by ghost? Scientists are haunted by ghosts. Philosophers are haunted by ghosts. Politicians are also haunted by ghosts, and even socialists also haunted by ghosts. So they are all haunted by ghost only. Because why? Because they are in Dehatma Buddhi and stuck up by three modes. That's why. So under the influence of Maya, it is you are speaking all kinds of nonsense. At every moment, present different they present different plans for the benefit of human society. All these plans are ultimately failures because they are illusory. In this way, living entity forgets his position as an eternal servant of God. He instead becomes servant of Maya. So in any case, he remains a servant, and in his misfortune, that by forgetting his real contact with Supreme Lord, he becomes a servant of Maya. And interestingly, Professor, as a servant of Maya, he becomes king sometimes. That means you become prime minister also and presidents also. Sometimes ordinary citizens, sometimes a Brahmana, Shudra, everything. We have to see the world with the eyes of Shastras. This is how we are seeing. Sometimes he's demigod also, sometimes he's a demon. So even the demigods people are doing Navagrahas, nine planets. So even Navagrahas also they are considered within three modes. And people are very religiously going and circumambulating these nine planets. Very unfortunate situation. So even Navagrahas people are going, they are also in three modes. So how can we go out of this material world if I take somebody who is stuck in the material world? So even demigods are stuck, right? So they are stuck. We see Indra, who is the leader of all the demigods. how many times he is affected by the modes. He is the leader of all the planetary systems. Then what to speak of the people who are under him? And we are thinking we should take shelter. Why we should take shelter? They cannot help us anyway. We respect them, but we cannot take shelter of them. So even demigods and demons, sometimes he's servant of and sometimes his master. In this way, wanders in the universe. Only when he comes in contact with bona fide spiritual master, he understands his real constitutional position. That's why to get a bona fide spiritual master is such a rare thing. First, to get a human body, only rare thing, and in that, to get a guru is such a rare thing. He then becomes disgusted with metal existence. At that time, in full Krishna consciousness, he regrets his past experiences in metal existence. So this is how Daivesha Gudamai Mamamaya Duratya. So it's so difficult. Only by grace of Krishna can one get out of clutches of Maya. It is not possible to get out of mental speculation or other activities. And the living entity understands his real position by the grace of Krishna. He keeps himself always fit in Krishna consciousness and acts accordingly. Thus, he gradually becomes completely free from the cultures of Maya. When he is strong in Krishna consciousness, Maya cannot touch him. So, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, Tate Krishna Baje Kare Gurura Sevana Maya Jale Chute Paye Krishnera Charana. In Krishna conscious state, the living entity engage in devotional service under the direction of spiritual master. In this way, he gets out of clutches of Maya and takes shelter under the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So we have to very clearly see that I want to come out of these three modes and I need Guru who will help me come out of it, and only shelter of Guru and service of Guru. That's all. The living entity is exactly like a dog who overcome with hunger goes from door to door for some food. According to his destiny, he sometimes receives punishment and is driven out at other times receives a little food to eat. Similarly, the living entity influenced by such so many desires. Now comes the he talked about three modes. Now he is talking about desires here. If you see the first statement is started is living entity has independence. He is choosing instead of Supreme Lord, he is choosing three modes. Then he explained about three modes. Now he is explaining about the desires of living entity. So first he told that living entity is choosing three modes instead of Supreme Lord. We are acting in three modes. And now what is making us act is the desire. So now he's talking about desires and he's comparing with a dog only. Sometimes he goes to heavenly planet, sometimes goes to hell. So the living entity's position is here in linked to a dog's. By chance, a dog may have a very rich owner, and by chance, he may become a street dog. So, in this, he will live very opulently. I was hearing one devotee kept status. It was a story, but good. I don't know where the story is, but it was okay. We can we can consider it. So when king calls three of his ministers, he says, "See, there is a garden I have, and it has so many fruits. You go and pluck all your. I give you three bags, and you pluck the fruits. Fill the bag with the fruits." So first minister goes and he plucks all the good wala and he puts in the bag. And second one, he thinks, "Arey, how king will see all this bag and all? You don't have time." He just picks here and there some rotten also, whatever comes. Some are kacha, some are spoiled, and very good wala he puts on the top. And third person, he thinks, "Arey, where is the time for king? And no, how can I go?" And he just goes out of the palace and puts some kachada, some dust here there, and fill the bag. That's all. You don't even put fruits also. And then king says, "See, you all three did mistake in the last week. I wanted to punish you. I am going to keep you in the prison for 1 month. And all three bags you take with you, you keep the bags with you, and that is a food for you for 1 month." And the first person he took, He had good fruit, so he survived. Second person, after few days, because of eating spoiled fruits and all, he died. And third person, from the beginning only, he was starving because he didn't collect only. So they are considered the fruits of our actions. Based on your fruits, you will get different enjoyment in this metal world. Of course, I don't know the source of the story, but it, at least it makes the point that what we are collecting, we'll enjoy. Of course, we don't want to collect fruits of this metal world. We want to get out of this metal world. But here, the point is made because the living entity's position is like dog, and he's also going collecting his. He says that by chance a dog may have rich owner. Sometimes in Western countries, we hear a master leaving millions of dollars to a dog by in his will. Of course, there are many dogs loitering in the street without food. Therefore, to liken the condition existence, link the condition existence of living entity to that of a dog is very appropriate. An intelligent human being, however, can understand that if he has to live the life of a dog, he had best become Krishna's dog. In the metal world, a dog is sometimes elevated and is sometimes on the street. But in spiritual world, Krishna's dog is perpetually, eternally happy. That's a Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, वैष्णव ठाकुर तोमार कुकुर भूलिया जहार मोरे. Bhaktivinoda Thakur offers to become a Vaishnava's dog. A dog always keeps himself at his master's door and does not allow any person unfavorable to the master to enter. So, Bhagavad Gita says, Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta. So, same thing here. Now the desire part comes. So, next verse says that the living entity are trying to contract different miserable conditions pertaining to providence, other living entities, or the body and mind. Still, they must remain conditioned by the laws of nature despite all attempts to counter these laws. So, just as dog wanders here and there for a piece of bread or punishment, the living entity perpetually wanders about trying to be happy and planning in so many ways to counteract material miseries. This is called struggle for existence. We can actually see in our daily lives how we are forced to make plans to drive away miserable conditions. To get rid of one miserable condition, we must put ourselves in another kind of miserable condition. Dukkhavasham Dukkhashadam tadapi dukkham atadiyaham, Prahlad Maharaj says. The solution becomes a greater problem. I want to solve this. So poor man suffers for want of money. But if he wants to become rich, he has to struggle in so many ways. Actually, that is not a valid contracting process, but a snare of illusory energy. And everybody is stuck. Everybody want to become rich. Everybody want to become rich. And the people who are rich, they don't have time for anything because they want to also become rich. If one does not, I was thinking why rich people are making an endeavor. They already have everything. They can be peaceful and sitting and doing happily enjoying it, but they cannot do only. That is interesting. Why? Because modes don't let them live. That is very important thing. So even if person has money, you should know this important point. Even if person has money, if he is in passion, if he cannot enjoy. So this should be known clearly. If he's stuck in passion, even if he has money, he cannot do it. So happiness is in goodness only. This should be very, we should be convinced of it. Because Krishna is telling the Sukham is in goodness. So to the degree a person is goodness, to that degree he will be happy. Not because of money. Money can give luxury but cannot give happiness. It can give comforts but not happiness. So there is comfort and luxury is equated to be happiness because of passion. But a person in goodness, he understands happiness is something more deeper. It is not just luxury and comforts. We understand? Like now we are sitting for class. Where is luxury and comfort in it? But still we want to be here because this is something more deeper. Happiness is something more deeper. It's not in luxury and comforts. Why Goswamis are going and staying in Vrindavan with extreme conditions? Because not about luxury. They were living in luxury, no? They were living in comforts. Why did they renounce it? Because they know happiness is something more deeper. So as spiritualists, now we should be convinced of this point. तस्यैव हेतो प्रयतेत कोविदो न लभ्यते भ्रमतामुपर्यतः तन्लभ्यते दुःखवद् अन्यतः सुखं कालेन सर्वत्र कबीरं हससि. Such important. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophical inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet. So what we should aspire for, we should endeavor only for that purposeful end, that's all, which is not tan labhyate dukkavad anyata sukham. It says, as far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries. So this type of happiness is a very low level of happiness. One should simply try to develop Krishna consciousness and not waste time trying to improve his material condition. Actually, material conditions cannot be improved. Prabhupada is telling all the politicians and big leaders, businessmen, they are all trying for this. What they are trying? They are trying to improve the material conditions, cannot be improved. The process of now advanced countries, all the Eastern European countries are considered advanced countries. But if you see, their material conditions are not improving. Not possible. People are come on the street for uh, protesting. They are also having so many issues. They are also working. They have financial issues, this issue, that issue. I was thinking, what is advancement they made? And everybody is thinking we should also advance. And what you are advancing? You cannot change. Prabhupada is clear. The material condition cannot be improved. The process of improvement means accepting another miserable conditions. However, if we endeavor to improve our Krishna consciousness, the distresses of material life will disappear without extraneous endeavor. Krishna therefore promises, Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. One who takes to the path of devotional service will never be vanquished despite all miseries of body and mind, despite of all miseries brought about by other living entities and providence, miseries which are beyond our control. So for devotees, it won't affect. If we are properly seeing it, will not get affected. Otherwise, it's so. A man may carry a burden on his head, and when he feels it is too heavy, he sometimes give relief on of his head, to his head by putting the burden on his shoulder. In this way, he tried to relieve himself of the burden. However, whatever process is he derive, devises to contract the burden does nothing more than put the same burden from one place to another. This is the very good analogy. What we are doing, we are just changing the burden. That's all. From head to shoulder. That's all. That's all. We are just changing. we cannot make any difference. This is a good description of an attempt to transfer the burden from one place to another. When one get tired of keeping a burden on his head, he will place it on his shoulder. This does not mean that he becomes free from strains of carrying burdens. Similarly, human society, in the name of civilization, is creating one kind of trouble to avoid another kind of trouble. In contemporary civilization, we see that there are many automobiles manufactured to carry us swiftly from one place to another. But at the same time, we have created other problems. And if you see, so Prabhupada is giving such a good example. We have to construct so many roads, and these roads are insufficient to cope up with automobile congestion and traffic jams. That was in 1960s only, traffic jams. And there are also problems of air pollution and fuel shortage. And we can see now Delhi is suffering like anything. The conclusion is that the process we manufacture to contract or minimize our distress do not actually put an end to our pains. This is all simply illusion, and people are suffering so much because of ill health. I don't know. We are hearing about Delhi pollution. It is too much pollution over the capital. You know, it is said that you just go for outside for few minutes. It is as good as smoking one pack of cigarette, full pack. You're smoking 10 cigarettes in just a few minutes just by breathing the air of Delhi, all courtesy to the traffic. So the only real way to minimize our problem is to surrender unto Supreme Lord and give ourselves up to His protection. Being all powerful, He can make arrangement to mitigate our painful life in material existence. Thank you all very much. Any questions, comments? Gail Mata, this is from previous session or this session? Your hand is rising.
No, it's from this session. I put
Okay.
it down and put it up, put it up and put it down because I was trying to get your attention. In the chat too, we were trying to tell you that no screen sharing was happening the whole class. You know,
Oh, really?
after the after you put up the initial chariots with the horses, but after that, nothing. So we were trying to
Oh,
get your attention, but anyway.
I'm really sorry. I was writing also on the screen.
I know. We knew that. That's why we were trying to say. You see, in the chat, we were saying no screen is being shared.
Oh, I am really
But
sorry.
it's okay. Okay. Anyway, that was my comment question.
I'll be careful. Actually, I just got carried away seeing and yeah,
No, but yeah, it was a great class, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And please forgive me. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.